Welcome. My name is Dr. Rachael Sharpe,
And I'm hopefully soon to be Dr. Jamie Ainge.
and together we're going to be combining our virtual isolation discussions with you.
So the first challenge, which I certainly came up um, as part of, from a student's perspective, I've utterly hated isolation. There's only so long you can cope with this before you buy a volleyball, put a bloody palm print on it, and start calling it Wilson. As part of the university and the team in the School of Education, I've always enjoyed being a part of the team in the office, just being able to go to someone for advice, knock on a door, or even just to annoy them and bring them some biscuits when they say they're on a diet. It just feels like there's more camaraderie when we're all together in the office rather than emailing across Lincolnshire. I don't know how you feel, Rachel.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the major issues with isolation, certainly during this lockdown, and predominantly this second lockdown as well. I think it's been really difficult to have some of those off kind of sort of normal conversations that you would have in the corridors. We've not been able to do those. It's turned into a more structured sort of online Teams set meetings, and that's stopped some of these off the cuff conversations where you've come up with some really good ideas that you've just randomly thought of or discussed in those corridors, in offices, over a coffee, or as Jamie said, over a couple of biscuits. And I think that's one of the biggest issues that has happened within this certainly, especially the second lockdown as well. So how have we kind of worked around that, Jamie?
Well, we keep in touch whenever we need to. I think it's important to keep a circle and a network around you, to be able to make sure you get through, make sure you can get through everything that's currently going on at the minute. And I think that leads into the next point.
Indeed. Challenge 2, mental health.
Yeah. At the start of the first lockdown, I think I was very naive when Anita said, go work at home. It was kind of, sit at home working on the sofa with Sky Sports on in the background. Sign me up for it. I'm ready. But then I realised it's very easy to fall out of routines, to get distracted, or just generally feel overwhelmed when working at home. And doing things to help with your mental health has been vital, which I think we'll get onto in a few slides later when we're keeping busy.
Absolutely. And I think trying to ensure that there's a positive approach to what you're doing all the time, even if you can't see the bigger goal, the small everyday kind of tasks that you can do to try and keep you motivated and kind of avoid any of those areas where you end up spiraling. Because obviously, if you're in the office, if you're face to face, those challenges wouldn't appear because you'll just go and knock on someone else's door. So absolutely, I think mental health has been a real challenge over the course of the COVID lockdown. Okay, challenge 3 then, Jamie, data collection.
For me, this has been the biggest disruption in terms of for my studies. At the beginning of lockdown last March was when I was supposed to begin my pilot study and start moving on to collecting data. At that time, because everything was new and people were having to react on a moment's notice of being told there are different, whether there be policy changes or what the government says, a lot of the responses I was getting from schools were along the lines of, we have more important things to worry about right now, which I completely understand, but I don't have more important things on. Let me please speak to your teachers. That's certainly been the biggest challenge for me.
Data collection has lent itself to thinking about different ways that we could do these sort of things. And I think COVID really has sort of put a stop to data collection in some respects, but equally a stop and think approach. So we did have to rethink the ways that you were going to data collect, but equally, I think that gave us more of an opportunity to be more specific about what we were collecting, rather than just knowing we could pop into school, pop into a secondary school, speak to some secondary teachers, and away we go. And actually, COVID stopped us from doing that, but allowed us to think, okay, what do we really want from the participants? What information we're trying to find out? And absolutely, it did mean that we had to rethink some of the ways forward. So that was a particular challenge as well. And I think that leads nicely onto challenge 4.
My cat Willow. She, right now, as we are recording this, is scratching at the back door to try and get back in the house. I have had a grand total of, I believe, 6 Teams meetings in an entire year that she has not made an appearance in, or just generally treating my laptop as a bed.
Yes, I think Willow has been a star performer throughout lockdown and all of our Teams meetings. And actually, you know, it has been a challenge working in an online environment where, you know, you'll get the postman or the post person knocking on your door, or you'll be getting a delivery, or a supermarket delivery, all those things that just happen to know when you're online and you're in a meeting. So yeah, an interrupting cat has been actually a pleasure though, Jamie, let's be fair. Something to laugh and joke about. Okay, so there are 4 main challenges that Jamie and I have faced over the last year. So what we're going to do now is just talk about some of the ways that we have been able to overcome those challenges. So, number 1, perseverance.
Yeah, this has been a big one, certainly in terms of the data collection, because the schools eventually sort of relented and began to forward my emails onto their teachers and agree for me to be able to conduct a study with the teachers in their school. The tough part then was getting the teachers to fill out the questionnaire initially, but I would say it has paid off, and I'm about to start writing my results chapter, so it certainly works for me.
I think it has definitely shown how the need for perseverance throughout your year of COVID and data collection. But again, I think that just demonstrates that where there's a certain need, there's a way, and we've just had to adapt those ways and keep going, as you rightly point out there, Jamie. Okay, our second suggestion is setting small targets.
Yeah, I have to thank Rachael for this one, as certainly in the lead up to Christmas, I was becoming quite overwhelmed with the amount of work. I was kind of seeing it all as one thing at the end, rather than just setting small targets in each supervision meeting, which has certainly helped me become, I would say, a lot more focused. Not perfect, I'll be honest, but certainly better than I was.
I think that again is something where, because we were in constant communication and we know that where we're trying to get to, don't we, that perseverance is there, that actually we needed to find a way forward. And I think it was it's nice of you to say that, Jamie, but I think it was a joint decision. I think we knew we needed to do something, and having some small targets on a weekly basis, a daily basis, really helped to kind of keep us going, keep focused, and keep on top of everything, definitely. And that really ties in with our third suggestion.
Yeah, definitely linked to the last one. This planning ahead has certainly made the workload more manageable by breaking it down and just helping me get to grips with it more. I think that's pretty much all I can say about it, because it really has helped.
Definitely. And I think that's something that this sort of situation has really shown, that we can plan ahead and we can have ideas, and those ideas may change and we may need to adapt, but at least we had that plan to work from, even if it kept changing all the way through. And I think as that picture rightly points out, to have part of a plan is better than not. So planning ahead, a real important part, and it keeps you focused as well. So that leads nicely on to 4, keeping busy.
Yeah, for me, this one just isn't just in terms of work, but also to keep busy in other aspects as well, just to improve with your mental health. So things such as exercise or taking breaks to recharge and refocus has just been a massive help for me. Not always worrying about how many words I've written, but making sure that whatever goal needs to be set, needs to be done by, is done for that date.
Absolutely. And I think having time out and knowing that there is time out for, off work, off computer time, going for a walk, thinking about what you're doing, eating healthily, talking about the football, which is a common one for Jamie and I, is really important, because it means that we are getting out of this remote working for a while, and a bit of reality kicks in as well, in terms of that's what we would be doing if we were on site in the office anyway. So yeah, definitely keeping busy and having those goals throughout the day. So to finish,
Yeah, I think if we're honest, we all want to get back to some sense of normality soon. Certainly for me, otherwise I am going to go and buy that volleyball.
but hopefully with some approaches to go forward, some positive thinking, and actually working with each other, you won't be a Wilson drowning in the sea. Thank you ever so much for listening.
Thank you, everyone.